Hey, thanks for joining us today. This is Adam Zilka with FireGang Dental Marketing. I'm here on behalf of the Practice Growth Summit. I'm interviewing Gary Kadi. Gary, thanks for joining us today. I'm glad to have you. I love what you do. So we're really glad that we could bring you into this. A lot of people probably don't know who you are or what you do that might need that. So can you maybe start off by kind of telling us a little bit about your backstory, who you are, what you do, and what makes you the rock star that you are?
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, I started off in the same business as you did, but we didn't have all the technology at that time.
Right.
I got a little bit more gray hair than you do. We were doing it old school snail mail, and that was like the rock star way to market things, right? And I had a marketing firm that brought patients to the front door, Adam. And I, like you, believe in conversion. It doesn't matter how many people respond. It's like how many people came and stay. And then when they're there, how many invest in the care and become part of the practice. And what happened was I kept hanging out in dental practices. First of all, because there was it's like, it just seemed like it would be the place to be. Like I just got attracted to it. Of all the types of businesses, I had restaurants and hair salons and gyms and, marketed all those things. But there was something about a dental practice that I had an affinity for. And then I started talking to dentists, and I'm like, you don't have a marketing issue. Right. You have a business model issue here, brother.
Right.
Yeah. What you really have is like when the patient comes in and they respond, it's like they don't want to be there. They don't know why they're investing in what they're investing in. The team members might be all fragmented. And that's really what my joy and expertise is in business development. And so I sold my marketing company. And what I did was I sat in everybody's chair, Adam, and I was like an assistant. I was a hygienist. I was, I didn't clean teeth or cut teeth, but I watched what they do and learned the business side. So my background is in business and team development. And then I learned the clinical side after, and then I was like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's awesome. I mean, it's because you start off with you kind of reverse the role as with where a lot of the doctors I speak with come in at, where they know the clinical side. They don't have a clue about the business and marketing and operational side, how to build teams, how to scale that, how to keep like culture in the on the right track, things like that. And so they do struggle in those areas, and those are a lot of the issues that I commonly see hold them back. And while I only represent like the marketing end of it, a lot of the mindset issues may have an impact on what they do there as well as everything else, and that's usually their big limiter.
Yeah, you're right. You're talking about mindset here. So here's what I've learned. If you're a dentist and you're trained to be a healthcare provider, it's the exact opposite thinking that takes to scale a business, because it's a different part of the brain.
You're a technician, right?
Yeah. And when I saw the movie Hangover back in the day, when they said, you're not a dentist, you're not a doctor, you're a dentist, and they diminished them. And I said, that's it. I'm going to take a different stand. I'm going to be an advocate for dentists, that they matter. Dental teams matter. And I'm going to give them the business side and people side that they don't like to do and want to do. I'm going to remove all the barriers and all the things that they don't like doing and automating the whole thing. And that's what we did. That's what we're going to talk about today, and the evolution of that, and how right now we've gotten it all the way down, Adam, that you can run your entire practice from your smartphone. That's how tight we have everything automated, and everything is pushed to us now. You don't have to do archaically go into your Dentrix and pull the report and hopefully get it to a team meeting sometime and change behaviors. What we're going to talk about today is how to build a new game board so you can scale this thing to multiple units or step out, or if you're into retiring, you can do that, bring on an associate, or if you're a new start practice, if you're in that place, how do you build from zero to, like you said in your video I saw on your site, 0 to 5 million in a year. It's totally possible.
It is, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's start then. Question one is, how's technology changing the way that we practice dentistry?
On so many levels. Everybody thinks it's corporate dentistry, and corporate dentistry is a gift to private practitioners, because, and when I say corporate dentistry, it's like the DSOs, the MSOs. Right. There's not the group practices. See, there's a lot of good group practices, as we were talking about, and they're smart guys and gals that know how to scale. There's also the independent practitioner that needs what corporate dentistry is doing. They need the intel. They need the intel around understanding how to run a business from a measurable standpoint. And that's really the key element. Back in the day, we were looking to track things like treatment presented and accepted. That to me is like one of the key performance indicators, because, look, you can bring them to the front door, Adam, and you're amazing at it, badass at it, right? when they come to the front door, it's like, how do they get converted? You know, how do we track that? You know, we have technology now.
It's all conversions. You're absolutely right. That's usually it, right? I mean, the practices that succeed, we send tons and tons of leads. They just can't get them to take those next steps, and either they stop at the phones, the staff doesn't know how to answer the phones, or maybe even it's before that. You know, they don't have a good site. But then when they start getting behind the scenes, you're hitting the nail on the head. You know, they're not converting those high-end cases. They're not instilling trust and confidence within their practice. They don't have a strong value proposition.
That's exactly it. And we're going to talk about how to build all those on today's session. So technology is, see, most people think technology is the answer. See, we look at it differently. We look at it like Steve Jobs looked at it. What we did was we looked at how a dentist and a dental team wants to live their life. They don't want to be doing the reoccurring things that we believe this. This is what we believe. 80% of the reoccurring issues in a dental practice can be systematized. So the remaining 20% can be humanized. And when you free up your team to be humanized with other patients, that's what they remember, the experience that they have, not so much the doing and the busy and the all that craziness. We remove all the busyness, but here's what you have to get, Adam. Here's why it doesn't change. Because team members think they need to keep busy to justify their position. If you don't know how to get in, I had to know how to get into the minds and hearts of dental team members to let go of some of the old thinking so that they can have the new process, that their identity is still valued, but it's valued because we want them to do things that are going to make the difference, to build the practice, that help the patient get healthy and run an efficient practice. Technology does that.
Yeah, no, that's so spot on. So then why might it be important to keep practices private?
Well, you know, look, here's the deal. It's you talked about the value proposition. Right now, what's happening in dentistry is that private equity firms are devouring practices because they know they are a very safe return on investment for their shareholders. Now, here's the inherent problem with that these practices focus in on shareholder value versus patient experience and patient health. We call them more like crown mills. See, we are against crown mills, and we are a stand-in and an advocate for preserving the integrity of the private practitioner, because we believe that it takes the private practitioner to get people healthy. Docs in the box are not going to be focused in on getting patients healthy. They're going to focus in on how many crowns they did for the month, and that's why it's important.
Interesting. So before we hopped on this call, we were talking a little bit, and you spoke a little bit about the complete health model. Yep. What does that look like? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, very good. So this is a great question, Adam. This came from, I was in dental practice development. I was doing it old school. I was, out of my trunk. I was driving to a practice. I would go in there. I would tell everybody what to do. They would say yes. They would mean no. I would leave, and, nothing would change. The old way that consultants did things. Right. And then I realized that's not going to work. That's when I stepped back and said, I'm not going to waste $1 of a doctor's money and a minute of their time, and I'm not going to upset and have team members, say yes and mean no. What we found was that every problem in a dental practice came from this day that I walked into a dental practice and I learned this lesson. My dad happened to have a heart attack the night before. He had quintuple bypass. He survived. He's still surviving. But I walked into a hygiene meeting, and I was coaching them on how to fit and what to fit into an hour of hygiene protocol to educate the patient and have them have a new experience. And I was sad that day, and a hygienist said, "You look sad, what's wrong with you?" And I said, "Well, my dad had a heart attack last night." And she said to me, "How was his perio?" And Adam, I was going to lose my mind. I'm like, my dad had a heart attack. What the hell are you talking about his perio for? Brah, I was like, what? So I went in there, and now get this, Adam. I'm sitting here for 10 years going to dental practices. Not one practitioner is talking about the oral systemic connection.
Sure.
And this was the game changer. I found all the best practitioners in the world. I filmed a 60-minute documentary of them. It's called SayAhTheMovie.com, SayAhTheMovie.com, and it's layman's terms on the impact of heart attack and stroke. I'm learning things like this. Pancreatic cancer, 62% higher incidence with perio. 1 in 2 heart attacks are triggered by perio. And then we have a database of 6 million treatment plans that we have tracking this. 4% of people are treated in these 6 million treatment plans for perio.
Wow.
And now think about this. The biggest problem is filling hygiene schedules. The biggest problem is having patients accept treatment. Imagine what's that?
It's just an awareness issue.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it. You're such a good marketer because you understand all we have to do is bring up the awareness first of our dental teams. Then they translate that to the patient. And here's the thing, scripts don't work. But when we teach them and they come from their heart, Adam, the vibration coming out of their mouth is trustworthy. It's authentic. And now we shift assistants to be ninjas. No, I'm not just an assistant. That's what a ninja stands for, right? We don't just have hygienists. We have hygieniuses.
Nice.
Because they're the only practitioner that spends 2 hours with the patient. And imagine coming from a place of whole body health and they're having those discussions, and we automated a system with oral systemic health cards, reading medical history form, highlighting problem consequence solution, using a healthy mouth baseline, all these components, very systematized. You can turn your practice from a standard dental practice to a complete health dental practice like that. And
what I love about that is that you now have hygienists that are perceived as actually caring versus just doing their job. They're engaging and they're taking the time to really educate and really, bring someone into their world in a much more meaningful way than just asking what flavor of, toothpaste they want or whatever it's going to be, a fluoride or whatever, So I love it. I mean, I think that then changes the perspective of that patient. In let's say it's a brand new patient coming in for the first time and they get this amazing experience. The likelihood that they're going to stick around is going to be significantly higher than them just shopping to the next guy down the street. And that's the differentiator, one of them that can make all the difference in the world.
You bet. And what happens, Adam, is look at these numbers real quick. For people who hate numbers, you'll love this. It's very simple numbers. It's called our CARE system. There's only 3 ways to build a practice. CARE stands for CA, which is case acceptance. R stands for retention. And E stands for the experience of the new patient.
Right.
Your business, like you'll get a lot of attention from dentists because 9 out of 10, when I say, how do you want to build your practice? They'll all say, I need new patients. So go see my man, Adam. He's going to take care of you. He's badass at it. Right? But here's what we found. If you don't retain the ones that come in the front door,
you're just treading water, right?
You're spinning your wheels. And then if they don't accept treatment while they're there, it doesn't work. We focus. That's why our partnership, I'm really excited for our partnership because you're going to bring them to the front door. That's not our expertise. And we do that, but we don't have the delivery systems you do. That's why we partner with people like you. And we focus in on retention and case acceptance, which is, look at these numbers quickly, how quickly you'll build a practice when you focus on marketing internally on retention and case acceptance. Because that's marketing too, but it's internal. Right?
Well, one thing I see a lot of is a lot of practices that we'll work with, they want to skip to the end of the line. And what I mean by that is they want like full mouth reconstruction cases or restorative cases or implant cases or high dollar tickets. And what happens is a lot of those people, they don't start out at the end. They start out at the beginning where they're starting to see the hygienist and they're starting to work with the practice. And you build out that foundation first, and then you nourish those amazing cases out of that. And my multi-million-dollar practices, that's what they've all done. They didn't just go out of the gate saying, hey, I'm going to go out and market to just implants and just kill it. I mean, you could try that if you've got deep pockets and you want to blow out low-dollar implants, but it's that value proposition, right? It's got to be the cost. It's got to be driven down enough so that someone's going to pull the trigger on that price point. And it's backwards thinking.
Well, we speak I speak at the AACD every year, and there's a lot of big case people. And what happens is when there's like external things like the economy hits, things change, and they're relying upon big case marketing only without bread and butter dentistry coming through their hygiene, it gives them no peace of mind ever. So they hire us to build the bread and butter dentistry, and we call it the farm system in your hygiene department that authentically and ethically educates the patient and brings them up a gradient scale, because nobody dives into a hole and says, hey, let's say the hole is, it's too big of a leap to go down into the hole called a full mouth reconstruction. We put steps to go down into the hole that that says, hey, you just got your cleaning, great. Now you got, hey, did you ever consider this? You consider this, you consider this. And the hygienist does all the work. They're your internal marketing specialist, not trying to get it on the front end from your website. You know, it does happen. We do have strategy, to do implants, and we have half-hour shows that we do, and good, with good websites, you can get some of that. But it's nice to have a good balance in there. So yeah, it's
totally
great.
agree. Yeah, I mean, we've seen people come in from that. It's just in my opinion, it's just a more difficult approach. But absolutely. So the next question I had is, what is the health mouth baseline, and how can it be used in your practice?
Yeah, healthy mouth baseline is this. I started in big practices. That's where I got my start. Like, I didn't start at a $500,000 practice. I'm doing the 2 to 5 million practices. I got 3 doctors. I got 5 hygienists. And where this was born was, I was in a practice in Croton on the Hudson in New York, and all the practitioners were arguing because they had all different philosophies. This doctor would not go to this hygienist because she was too conservative, or this hygienist would not call this doctor in for a recare visit. What I learned was there was no agreement for what's healthy or what's not. Everybody was in disagreement. You can't possibly, get retention, get case acceptance, bring a team aligned if you're not philosophically looking in the mouth and seeing what the benchmarks are for a healthy mouth. The other thing that this handles is, if you've ever had a new patient come in from a guy who retired, and you go, why did you like the guy who retired? They go, oh, because he didn't recommend anything to me for 20 years. And now all of a sudden you're the bad guy because you're making a recommendation of $10,000, and they're going, hey, the last guy who I trusted didn't recommend anything. Right. Well, what I realized was, and we interviewed hundreds of patients in front of the Flatiron Building here in New York where our office is, and we asked them, what is a healthy mouth? Not one of them could tell me what it was. So, as you know, in marketing, it's like, what problem are you fixing, right? Mm-hmm. And then this is the biggest thing. The reason why so many doctors are stalled today is because they've been trained by professors to find the chief complaint and fix it.
Got it.
The minute you are in the find the chief complaint and fix it mindset, the question you ask is, anything hurting, anything bothering you? You're looking for the symptomatic issue inside of a patient. That only gives you maybe 5% of all the care that you can provide. It also, you give your power away to the patient. You're no longer the advisor and advocate for whole body health. You're a tooth mechanic and a gum gardener.
Right.
And that's what a healthy mouth baseline does. It's an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that, after you sit down with your team, you come together philosophically on your belief around what is healthy: soft tissue, hard tissue, sleep apnea, cosmetics. The other thing that this avoids, we were in a cosmetic office the other day, or a GP office, and a guy came in with a complete full case. He walks in, the dentist goes, hey, where'd you get that smile done? He goes, I got it down the street because I didn't know you did it. It fixes that problem too. Right. This is the keystone for our work, and it takes a standard practice, moves it into a complete health practice. You can get this on my site, by the way, for free under the resources, samples of this healthy mouth baseline at nextlevelpractice.com, NEXTLEVEL practice.com. And you can go to resources, download samples of the healthy mouth baseline, and sit down with your team and get agreement on what's healthy and what's not, and use that in your new patient intakes and for your recare visits, every patient, every time. It reestablishes to the patient what's healthy and what's not. When you do your diagnosis, now the patient's co-diagnosing with you and is engaged in the process. Hey, Adam, do you like to be told what to do?
Nobody does, I don't think. No.
Yeah, man, brother. I was going to say, I had one guy say yes, and I'm like, you must have the best relationship with your wife ever. But here's the deal. We're telling people what to do in a dental practice all day long. We want to engage them based upon what the facts are, and then let them make their own decisions. That's how you ethically have the patient buy dentistry versus you selling it.
Sure. No, I love it. So you'd mentioned there's many aspects that you really focus in on. One is people. So is there like one exercise that you'd recommend to get the team to become more of a cohesive unit? And like what would you suggest? What would you recommend there?
Yeah, I think to keep it simple for this, I mean, I can go in many places. It's ultimately, what is the vision, what is the purpose, and what are the values that you're operating from? So if your vision is get through the day, or it's on some, gothically beautifully handwritten in the hallway and you have to go get it, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a vision, purpose, and values that lives in the minds, souls, and bodies of the team members. And this is how you use it. So I would sit down. So first of all, I used to be a consulting firm. Now our mission is to get 30 million people healthier. So we are all about missionaries for the value proposition versus what we provide for people. It changes the context.
Right.
An example of how you do that in a dental practice: on a good day, we beautify smiles, and on a great day, we save a life. So now you're still doing dentistry, and now you have a context expander called we're here to save lives. And then your purpose. Why do you do what you do? Well, we do it because our product is not practice management. Our product is enhancing the quality of people's lives. So what that means is that it's like our purpose is that person's life transformed and better than it was yesterday, today, next year, from last year. So always getting better, transforming and enhancing the quality of people's lives. And then the value system is really vital. We have the acronym practices: proactive, responsible, accountable, compassionate, transparent, integrity, community, and equality. And my team, if I ask them, and here's the exercise for your listeners, have your doctor say, write down what is our vision, what is our purpose, and what are our values. If everybody has a different one, everybody's playing a different game. And this is why you have to repeat yourself over and over. This is why systems don't get implemented. This is why you hit all the reoccurring issues that you're dealing with, is because you don't have a team dedicated to a common purpose. And maybe one person's playing football, another person's playing golf, another person's playing soccer, and you're all under one roof playing different games, and that's why you're not winning the game. And so that's the one thing I would recommend.
Love it. It's like business 101.
It is, but simple is not always easy, my friend.
It's not. No, I mean, creating vision, everything you're discussing, it's so valuable, so important, but it's also so incredibly difficult starting out, like where do you begin, that kind of thing. I mean, once you get it, you've got it, but I could see it as being something that just, it doesn't come, I don't think for most, I don't think it comes naturally. You sit down and you're like, what am I going to do today? And it's like, well, I'm going to go put out these fires, or I'm going to go look at my finances, or whatever it's going to be, right? Deal with Jenny at the front desk. But to sit down and say, I'm going to create a vision and I'm going to cohesively work with my team to empower them with that, that's just not one of those naturally.
Well, that's why we created something called GabeWorks, and that's our implementation system. And it's basically walks practitioners through step by step. So we show a video, what it looks like, a download of the samples, then they get an accountability coach. GABE stands for gamification, accountability coach, behavior dashboard, and the Engaged Learning Center. So that's what GABE stands for. And you hire GABE and bring him into your practice, and now you have a platform that has everything you need, Adam, to do all the things we just discussed on our call today. Wow,
that's pretty awesome. It seems like you've got all of your bases somewhat covered. So we're about out of time. I do know that you had an offer that you wanted to kind of kick out to the listeners here of this. Can you kind of share what that is?
Yeah, you bet.
Find out about it?
Yeah, you bet. I got 2 books. I have $1 Million Dentistry, which is like 90,000 copies in 37 countries. It's the foundation of what we talked about today. There's that book, and I'm releasing December 1st, Dentistry for Millennials. It's how to attract millennials. If you're a millennial, how to run a business, or if you're a baby boomer and you're managing millennials, it'll show you how to deal with that too. Big topic. And so I'm offering for your listeners a free copy of either one of those books, and they could just reach out to us at our practice. The person to get with is Jen at Next Level Practice, JEN at nextlevelpractice.com. Or you can call our office at 212-388-1712, 212-388-1712. And you can just call in, say that you and I were having a conversation and you want to get a copy of $1 Million Dentistry, or you want to learn about and take a tour of the GABE system. We'll give free tours for that, and then they can see the dashboard, the learning center, everything we talked about today. Awesome.
Really good stuff. I love what you're doing. I mean, it's I'm fully in support of all of it, so happy to have you here today. I encourage everyone that's listening to this, anyone that's looking to scale or that's struggling, doesn't matter where you're at, reach out and dig into this stuff. I think that it's incredibly beneficial for everyone. So I'm so happy to have you here. Appreciate you taking the time today.
You bet, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to working with you and introducing you to our group of our community members in 44 states, Puerto Rico, the Bahamas. We're praying for Puerto Rico and helping them, and up in Canada as well. So it's
Awesome.
been a great talk today, and I'm looking forward